the morning of day 3. Last night I stayed at the Max Israel shelter. When I got into camp last night, about 10 minutes after I got here, just started a torrential downpour. It rained quite a bit up until, 10, 11 o'clock or so. And then after that, in early morning hours, the winds really picked up. So this was the first night I stayed in a shelter versus the tent. Overall, it did not too bad. No critters around, no other animals. So it went good. There was a couple that stayed here too. It was nice to talk to them. They've both done quite a bit of backpacking. The guy, he's hiked the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, as well as many different places in the White Mountains. So it was nice to hear some of their stories, and they gave me some advice on hiking the White Mountains as far as where to go, some of the nice spots. So yesterday did 22 3/4 miles. Overall for the first 2 days, a little over 46.5. So today I'm going to continue on the MSG, headed towards the Steve Kaplan shelter, which that shelter is the last shelter on the trail headed northbound. And that's about 7 miles before the end of the trail. But before I get there, I will head down to the main part of Pillsbury State Park, where they have some campsites. There's a pretty big pond down there. So off we go. I made it to the junction of Bear Pond Trail and the MSG. This is where the trail splits off, so the MSG keeps on headed straight, going further north up the Mount Sunapee, and then the Bear Pond Trail, it goes down to, it's like the western side of Pillsbury State Park, so that's where all the state park campsites are at, and then there's a couple ponds down there. I think there's a reservoir, a few things like that. So it's only 10:30, and there's only like 2 more miles to the last campsite where I was going to stay. So since I have more time today, I'm gonna head down to around where the campsites are at, and then probably have lunch down there. Getting close to the main section of Pillsbury State Park where the tent sites are at. I think I'm about a mile or so away. This is the first pond I came across. This is Bear Pond, hence Bear Pond Trail. So about another mile or so, and then we're into the main park area. Just reached the junction here of Bear Pond Trail and the Five Summers Trail. Five Summers Trail goes into where the tent sites are at, where we'll eat lunch. But this here is also a big popular snowmobiling area. So from here you can get to Sunapee, Bradford, East Washington, all these different places. There's snowmobile trails in the area. Alright, we're now entering the main part of Pillsbury State Park, or at least where all the campsites are at, and there's some ponds and reservoirs here where you can go swimming and fishing. Well, it happened way too quick to get a picture or video or anything, but just right down the path here, I saw my first black bear this trip. Figured I'd see at least one. There's a big pond or lake over here. I was out here 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's pretty neat. So I just came down the side trail. I was headed back to the main trail to connect back up with the MSG, and just came over this tree here, and I guess I made enough noise that spooked him, and he ran up that way into the woods. So last time I was here, this was the exact location, just down the trail, not even a 1/10 of a mile. I came around this corner, heard something big thud in a tree, and next thing I look up and there's a injured fisher cat just kind of hobbling down the trail. It won't get off the trail, it's moving really slow, so I guess this is a good area to see some wildlife. I'm in Pillsbury State Park, getting ready to head back up to where the Bear Pond Trail meets the MSG, and then headed on to camp. I'm about 3 miles away from camp for the night. I should end with probably about 17 or 18 miles for today. The Five Summers Trail was one of the extra trails around the Pillsbury State Park area I wanted to do. So it's more or less like a snowmobile trail for however long it is. I guess about 5 miles, and then it bears off and off this main road here, and then it goes up the mountain, and it meets up with the MSG further down. So completed that, did some walking around the Pillsbury State Park area, so now I'm headed up, and then should leave about 7 miles left for tomorrow. I'm about 1.5 to 2 miles away from where the camp's at. I forget what I called it earlier. I think I called the Steve Kaplan shelter, but it's the Moose Lookout shelter. That's where we're headed, 1.5 to 2 miles away. I just stopped here on this section of the trail. This is one of my favorite sections. I love the tall, thin pine trees. It just seems kind of mystical. I've been through this area 3 or 4 times, and I just think these pine trees are neat. Well, I made it to camp. We did 20.1 miles today, and definitely the highlight today was seeing the black bear, which sure wish I would have been able to get a picture of it. So tomorrow we got about 7 miles left.